interesting story which is coming in regarding India's national security, where the BJP on Monday, which was yesterday, held talks with a delegation of the Communist Party of China at its headquarters in Delhi. This, of course, is the ruling party in China, where the first formal party-to-party engagement has happened since the deadly Galwan Valley clash of 2020. In fact, the Chinese delegation was led by the Vice Minister of the International Department of the CPC, one of the topmost party members. Now, this meeting took place at the BJP headquarters with the party's Foreign Affairs Department in charge, which is Vijay Chauthaiwala, who's confirmed the interaction on a post on social media. You can see the picture there of the BJP leaders meeting the Chinese delegation in the BJP headquarters. But the optics of this meeting have, of course, triggered off a very sharp political backlash, where the Congress party has slammed the centre, questioning why the BJP is engaging with the Chinese representatives at a time when China continues to stake claim on Indian territory and is allegedly building infrastructure in areas that India considers its own, and there is no question about it. Well, the opposition has also flagged China's support to Pakistan during Operation Sindoor, asking why the government appears to be opening political channels with what it calls a hostile power. Well, the BJP, however, has maintained that party-level interactions are part of the broader diplomatic outreach, that it is people-to-people connect, and even as political temperatures continue to rise over the India-China ties, this kind of a face-off has happened. Now, just a quick reminder. Remember, the BJP has been very quick to point out that the Congress party also, on its part, had met, which was Rahul Gandhi to be precise, had met a CCP delegation at the peak of Doklam. Rahul Gandhi was there, Sonia Gandhi was there, and of course Priyanka Gandhi Vadra was there as well, which is why they are saying this is people-to-people connect. Let me go across to Sahil Sohail, who's joining us. Sahil, it's one thing to say that, yes, there are people-to-people connections, but quite another to defend why all of this is happening when we've not forgotten what has happened at Saksham Valley, and also the kind of provocations which have been coming in from China as early as just yesterday, when a Chinese party representative had come out and said that they had shot down several jets in May last year.
Well, yes, in fact, first of all, China is basing its claims on 1963 Pakistan-China border agreement, which India basically considers as illegal and has never accepted. Under this agreement, Pakistan had ceded this particular area to China. It's important given the fact that on one side it touches Siachen Glacier, on other side is in fact borders with Gilgit-Baltistan, which is very part of Jammu and Kashmir. Now, government of India has maintained a position on this particular valley that it's in fact part of Jammu and Kashmir, it's part of India, and hence in fact the infrastructure development that China has carried out in this particular valley, constructing more roads under CPAC, which India considers invalid and illegal because it passes through a territory which is part of India. And now this infrastructure is basically being raised there. In 2021, they had paused it, but then again this infrastructure is built, and in fact the roads are connected to border network of China, which basically connects it to Xinjiang. Now, coming to the domestic politics, on it we had seen Congress party raising objections previously as well. Rahul Gandhi was as leader of opposition, and in fact as MP had raised objections and in fact claiming that the territory was grabbed and occupied by China in Ladakh. But government of India has in fact maintained its position that in fact the area, particularly the Saksham Valley, which is now in fact under in discussion, is in fact part of India, and any activity, whether it is related to infrastructure or any sort of activity, is illegal and invalid. China is, as I said, basing its claims on 1963 border agreement that they had done with Pakistan at that point in time, but India considers that invalid. We had Congress leaders, in fact, raising questions on BJP leaders, in fact, meeting the CPP leaders of, in fact, the Chinese party, and in fact, after this meeting, they are claiming that it's why that the private companies were, in fact, being allowed to raise infrastructure in the Saksham Valley, which is strategically important for our forces, as I outlined, that it basically touches its borders with Siachen Glacier and the Karakoram upper area. In fact, BJP, Congress, in fact, going into the domestic politics issue, but more important is that government of India has maintained its position, saying that the CPEC, which in fact is an economic corridor between Pakistan and China, is illegal, invalid, given the fact that it passes through a territory which is part of India.
You're absolutely right, Sahil Sohail, and thank you for putting all of that into perspective, because it is about CPEC, which India says is an illegal project, and it is about the Saksham Valley, which India is very categorical about, that it is part of the Indian territory, which is why now you have the Congress party questioning the BJP. That in the midst of these wild claims being made on Indian territory by China, why is the BJP meeting a delegation of the CCP, the Chinese ruling party? In fact, this is what Shama Mohammed of the Congress party has to say. She says that China has claimed that the Saksham Valley in Jammu and Kashmir is part of its territory and has justified the construction activities there, which of course is part of the CPEC. In fact, just yesterday, she goes on to say, BJP officials met the CCP representatives at the BJP headquarters, and reports suggest that the Modi government is allowing Chinese companies to invest in India. So why is the government of India siding with our enemy who helped Pakistan during Operation Sindoor? Now tell me, who is a Deshdrohi? So Deshdrohi charge, which is being lobbed by the Congress party on the BJP for having entertained the CCP delegation, that too inside BJP's headquarters. So let me go across to Niyamika, who's joining us. Niyamika, politically speaking, of course, we have Sahil Sohail, who's explained the strategic importance and significance of the Saksham Valley. But politically speaking, what is the BJP saying in its defense?
Well, yes, indeed, the politics has already started over this entire matter. We have seen that how the Congress party is questioning the stand of government of India, the stand of the BJP, as basically they are saying that on one side it is China which is asserting over the territorial claim in the Saksham Valley, as well as the way in which the infrastructure projects are going on there. They are basically stating that this is a complete failure of the foreign policy, as how can China dare to do so. As for that reason, we have seen that not just Shama Mohammed, but the other Congress leaders, including Supriya Shanath as well as T.S. Singh Dev, they all have basically questioned the BJP government and blaming it upon the Prime Minister. As for that reason, we have seen that how Shama Mohammed has also gone on to say that this is basically the Deshdroh which the BJP is doing, because on one side the China is asserting over the territorial claim, but on the other side it is the BJP leaders who are having a meeting with the CCP leaders there. As for that reason, apart from Shama Mohammed, but it was the former deputy Chief Minister of Chhattisgarh, T.S. Singh Dev, who has basically stated that all of this is happening only because the government earlier had denied of any kind of intrusion into the Indian territory by the Chinese forces. As for that reason, he has basically stated that when media had showed the satellite imageries where it was clearly being seen that how China was trying to make their projects, the infrastructure they are trying to build in the Indian territory. At that point in time, the government of India has completely denied over all these facts, and that has given a kind of a green signal to China, and that is the only reason why now they are moving it forward. They are continuously asserting that this is the Saksham Valley in particular, that it is basically the land of China only. So all of these are happening only because the government of India has completely failed to take a stand over this entire matter.
Well, in fact, do stay on with us. We are waiting for reactions to come in from the government of India officially as well. Meanwhile, China, as we are telling you, has reasserted the territorial claims on the Saksham Valley after India's objections. Well, India, remember, last Friday had criticized China's infrastructure development projects in this valley, specifically saying that it reserves the right to take necessary measures to safeguard its own interests, as it is an Indian territory without any dispute.
On the Chinese infrastructure build-up via CPEC, as also in Shaksgam Valley. Shaksgam Valley is Indian territory. We have never recognized the so-called China-Pakistan boundary agreement that happened in 1963. We have consistently maintained that the agreement is illegal and invalid. We do not recognize the so-called China-Pakistan economic corridor either, which passes through Indian territory that is under forcible and illegal occupation of Pakistan. The entire Union territories of Jammu and Kashmir and Ladakh are an integral and inalienable part of India. This has been clearly conveyed to Pakistani and the Chinese authorities several times. We have consistently protested with the Chinese side against attempts to alter the ground reality in Shaksgam Valley. We further reserve the right to take necessary measures to safeguard our interests.
Well, there you have it. The Indian government is categorical that Shaksgam Valley belongs to India. It is Indian territory. And we have every right to safeguard our own territorial interests from China. This after the provocation which is coming in from China yet again, where they have been trying to build infrastructure on Indian territory. But all of this, of course, is due to the flashpoint that we have right now, which is the CCP delegation visiting the BJP headquarters. In the midst of this massive face-off between India and China, questions are being asked by the Congress party. Why is the CCP, which is the ruling party in China, visiting the BJP headquarters in Delhi? Which is why you have the Congress party now coming out and saying that this is Deshdroh, that this is betrayal of India's sovereign rights and has been a compromise which have been made. They have said that India's national interests are being compromised by the BJP by holding this kind of a meeting at the BJP headquarters. In fact, we have a voice coming in from the spokesperson of China's MEA, External Affairs Ministry. This is what their claims are on the Shaksgam Valley.
边界，这是中巴作为主权国家的权利。那么你提到中巴经济走廊，这是一个经济合作倡议，旨在促进当地的经济社会发展和改善民生。中巴边界协定和中巴经济走廊不影响中方在克什米尔问题上的立场。
Such agreement and China-Pakistan economic corridor will not affect China's position on the Kashmir issue, and China's position remains unchanged on this regard.
的协和评论，你提到的领土。
Well, as we are telling you, politics, of course, has been raging on. Several reactions coming in, scathing ones at that, from the Congress targeting the BJP. Listen in.
It's sad, very unfortunate. We expect if the elected Prime Minister of our country, when he says something, it should be the truth. If the person and the persons whom the voting majority has given the opportunity to govern the country, if they cannot share the facts and in fact mislead the country into believing that there is no such situation, there is no such encroachment, etc., then you forfeit the right to continue to hold that trust and be in that position. There must be a pushback.
So there you have it. They see politics over Dragon's provocations. Well, on that note, a short break. Don't go anywhere. Siddharth joins you on the other side.